Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Facebook Live. It's Sire Summer Week in Ohio. My name is Kevin Jorgensen, Senior Holstein Sire Analyst. Here to answer your questions today, give you a little bit of information of what's been going on this week in the genetic world. And if you get the opportunity to ask questions, feel free to do so. We'll get through those as the afternoon wears on here. But always a fun thing to do. Always enjoy visiting with you folks, our customer members and owners. And So welcome, and we're glad you're with us today. I was just going to start out a little bit talking about the Sire summary in general, and like the last three before this, been a few changes in the industry, mostly at DPR, similar to last April where the values came down kind of across the board. That happened again this time. In the Holstein breed, the average drop was about 0.8 on DPR. Throughout the industry, that was the average, and so that had an impact on TPI values, had an impact on net merit values. So there's some differences of what the number looks like, but as I've said several times the last year or so as we've talked about this, relative rank is what's really important. So how do they rank within the industry? How do they rank within their population? And so with that, the average genomic young sire in the industry dropped about 34 TPI points, and for net merit dollars it was about 15. And the proven bulls are a little less severe as normal. It was about 19 TPI points in the industry and about 8 net merit dollars. So you'll see the values look a little bit different. Maybe it crunches everything together again, but really that's the part of genetics we always have to remember is that it's relative rank. How do they fit within the population, and how do these bulls meet each and one of your breeding goals? So probably not quite as severe. The good news was the CDCB had sent out a letter last week kind of alerting us to this, which is a lot nicer to go into a summary knowing what to expect. It's the unexpected surprises that kind of throw us off guard a little bit. Additionally, they did add a new trait called age at first calving, and it's a small component of fertility index, took the place of cow conception rate, or took part of the weighting of that on. Didn't see a big impact in the industry due to that. Probably the other thing they did add is the crossbred evaluations. Again, didn't seem to have a big impact on Holsteins in general. Additionally, even in jerseys, if you listen to Herbie earlier today, most of the Jersey breeders feel pretty good about it in terms of how it ranks the populations. And so those were some of the new changes that were going on in the background leading up to the data that we received this week. The good news is, and I've said this 3 or 4 times in a row, that the more these things change, some things don't. And as we look through the data, and it's just kind of coming in today, don't have all the active AI lists. This is kind of the afternoon that a lot of that stuff comes in. But I do have the official top 100, top 197% reliability list from Holstein, and we have 46 of the top 100 in Holstein breed, and 46 of the top 100 in the top 197% reliable. So again, very, very exciting that we were able to bring in some of these bulls. So we're excited about it. So ultimately, I hope that you, if you got questions again, feel free to ask them. I want to talk a little bit about some of the new graduates. We did bring in several new graduates in the Holstein program, and they're a pretty exciting group. Here they go. That's on my right list. Probably one of the most exciting bulls that graduated this time. A very familiar cow family if you are a Select Sire's customer, and that's the 7/8 13-334 Phantom is a maternal brother to Duke. And Duke is the #1 bull in Canada. He's in the top 10 here in the United States. Some of the most impressive daughter groups that I've had the chance to see. I looked at a group last week in Wisconsin, was really happy with what I've seen on them. They give a ton of milk. They're really good uddered. So we brought in his brother this time, and he's a kingpin brother to Duke, the Phantom bull. As I said, 7/8 13-334. He debuts in the top 20 in the TPI list. He's 2670 on TPI. He's almost a ton of milk, and a beautiful linear profile. He's 106 pounds of fat, like his brother Duke. So really high CFP at 183 pounds of combined fat and protein. And so this is a bull that I've seen a few daughters really like this bull. I think that that's something that we're pretty happy about, and a big cow family. Super Sire Mabel's another member of the Mindy cow family. This cow flat out knew how to milk. She was definitely one of those. So I think this bull is going to be a nice fit on like Epic daughters, franchise daughters. Really good addition to the lineup in a top 20 TPI bull. Another new top 20 TPI bull is, or new graduate is speaking in the Mabels, speaking in the Mindys, the Miris. Two more Miri sons who came into the top 100 TPI this time. The first one is 7H13 373 Flagship, a bull that's been very, very popular as a young bull. A little different than Jedi. Jedi we know is the king of protein. He makes cows that give a lot of milk. But on the opposite side, Flagship is a health and fitness specialist. He was an Alpha First Class son. So he's not quite as extreme on milk. He's 792 on milk. But on health and fitness, he's extremely low in cell score at 257. He's really high productive life. He's 4 points on daughter pregnancy rate. Even during the rollback that I talked about at the beginning, he's still 4 points on DPR. So health and fitness is really his middle name. He's a Cavanese bull. The daughters I've seen milking pretty uddered cows. So they're not as big, they're not as tall as the Jedis, and as I said, not quite the same will to milk, but they are definitely beautiful uddered cows, really high health and fitness. So he debuts in the top 20 TPI bulls as well. He's got a maternal brother that's in the top 50, 7H13 328, Yoder Yale, and he's a Yoder out of Miri. And again, similar credentials. He's kind of in the middle. He's not as high on milk as Jedi. He's higher than Flagship. He's good on fitness, not quite as extreme. But he's a Yoder. He's 2558 on TPI. He's 772 net merit, so that's kind of like his father, Yoder. He's a great bull in that respect. He's a bull that is 2.4 on DPR, so still extremely good. More moderate-sized cows, and seen a lot of these, again, real consistent pattern. What I would tell you on these is his full sister is probably the best daughter of Miri herself. She's an 88.3-year-old cow that I'm just a really big fan of, and lives in Wisconsin, and I really like the cow. So those are two more new Miris who came into the program this time. Another bull that debuted in the top 20 is a 14H accelerated genetics bull, but a cow family, again, we're really familiar with. This bull's number is 14H 7770 AOT Silver Helix, bred by one of our great collaborators, Tommy Kugler, up in New York. And if you're watching, Tom, good afternoon. A bull that I've seen a bunch of daughters just of recent here. He kind of snuck up on us, so he had this much data already. But what I've seen, I've really liked. He's a Helix son, 1,600 of milk. Again, high combined fat protein. He's 179. He's 2 points on udder composite. They're really nice cows. So I've been real happy with what I'm seeing on those. He's a 7.3 Cavanese bull, and he's got a great pedigree. He's a silver son out of AOT, or Cookie Cutter Super Sire has. She was an 88-point Super Sire daughter out of Man Halo. So this is the same family as Hang Time and all the Cookie Cutter bulls, many of the other bulls with Tom's AOT prefix. So a family that we really know a lot about, and very happy with him. But what I can tell you is I've seen some daughters on this bull, and they've been very impressive. So we're really happy with what we're seeing on the Helixes. And I will tell you, because he did sneak up on us, as I said that a moment ago, his semen will be available for you on June 1st. But he's an active graduate because of that. Staying out in New York, we brought in a bull as well from our friend Billy Peck at Welcome Stock in Bacon Hill, 14H 7714 Bacon Hill Hurricane. He's a chop son, so we already have mogul grandsons coming into the active lineup, and I think that's pretty exciting. His dam is a shot glass daughter. The next dam is a planet daughter that actually came from back in Wisconsin. And then the next dam is an excellent O-man daughter, one of the early genomic cow families, the B&Z O-man cow that was excellent. So this bull debuts again, high production at a 1,200 of milk, 125 CFP, 25-27, makes him a top 100 TPI bull. He's a really good daughter pregnancy rate bull. The best part is he's 5'8" on Cavanese. So he should be a bull that works very well in the heifer pens. So he's another graduate that came in this time. Another of the graduates I just wanted to check on is, that's come to us back in the Mindy cow family again, is 7H12742 plain old foxhole. Extreme production bull, 2,300 pounds of milk, 170 CFP, 2,600 TPI again, top 25 TPI bull in the breed, 6'5" on cavities, fits the robot designation, so if you're in the robots, this bull will work really, really well. But a Montrose son out of one of the Shamrocks out of Mindy, so this is the same cow family as Bayonet, and it's a cow family that's done really well for Steve Busher, and obviously we talk a lot about the Mindy family, but it's done very, very well for us. So he's a new graduate in the top 100. Then we've got another, one of my favorite bulls in this group is from Dwayne Zimmer here in Ohio, 7H12657 Tomac. He's a Tatum son. And Tatum was one of my favorite genomic young stars here a couple years ago. Unfortunately, we had to send the bull out, but he was one of those bulls that was a little different, being a Tatum son. He was a good milk bull. They're really nice cows. We see him popping up in some of the pedigrees of the bulls that we're sampling now. And this is our first Tatum son to graduate. And he's out of a mogul. It's 88 points, and then goes back to a Kevin Peck cow family out again in New York, back to the Dina family. But this is a bull that is 1,700 pounds of milk. He's 2'4" on type. Good udders, good udder composite, plus on sire consumption rate, so he settles cows, and he's a 7'1" cavities bull. Beautiful linear bull again, but this cow family's been really good to us as well. Let's touch on a couple more here. Loyalty, good bull. These Montrose sons keep coming at us. 7H12690, the ladies' mare Montrose Loyalty is an A2 Montrose son. He's out of a graffiti daughter that's already scored excellent. The next dam's excellent. The next dam's excellent. I encourage you to look at the pedigrees on a lot of these bulls we graduated this week, because for those that sometimes say we don't care about pedigrees, multiple generations of excellence throughout these pedigrees that we graduated this week. And so we're really happy with this Loyalty bull. He's 1,600 pounds of milk. He's 2 on type. He's 2'8" on udders. So he'll be a breed leader in udder composite and at 2,600 TPI. So gets right up in the top 50 bulls of the breed. And the Montrose sons keep knocking it out. You're going to continue to see Montrose sons here over the next year or so, because he's done a great job. Just like his daughters, he's a great sire father with a really good hit rate. And so we're really happy about Loyalty as well. And so that, I mean, there's 11 new graduates. We had a lot of them. 5 of them were right near the top 100. So we did very, very well in those respects. I guess, look here, I don't see any questions yet. Andrew or Brent, I hope your sound is getting better. It seems good on our end here. I guess I'll move into maybe some of the genomic young bulls. We did have a nice day there. It's a little harder to know how all these rank in these genomic young star lists, because a lot of the bulls that may be on that list are not immediately available yet. So it's hard to know who you can get semen on and who you can't. So I can tell you who you can get semen on, at least on our bulls. And one of the bulls that continues to be right near the top of the list is 614H14220 Frazzled Riveting. Bull that's right in the top 5 of the breed. He's right that tight to 2,900 GTPI. Been a real popular, we've used him hard as a sire father. We released it back in December, sex only. Probably what I can add that I had not seen when I visited with you in December is through the winter here, I had the opportunity to see Riveting's mother. She's a prophet daughter. She's up in northern Wisconsin. Fresh the second time, really a great young cow living in a well-managed freestyle herd up in central Wisconsin. But the cow family is very, very solid, and so she's going to get scored here this month, and so she'll have a classification score. I think very easily could go 85, 86, 87. She's a nice cow. So Riveting is still basically the highest bull available we know of that you can buy semen on, and we're very excited about that. The other bull in the genomic young sire world that is kind of, if you look at any list at all, there's a bull named Solution. And Foosted SSI Solution is a hitter. He's doing a great job. Probably the sales staff doesn't want me to talk about this bull. He's the probably tightest supply bull we have. But as genomic young sires go, this bull is the real deal. His mother is a great young cow at Brian Cruz, Wisconsin, and then goes back to an excellent Bolton that was a really good cow. There's an oak, very good oak in between those. But this bull, I just ran some stats this morning. We've got 21 solution sons in or to be delivered to select at this point, and more to come, that are over 2860 MTPI. He's got 43 of them over 1,000 cheese merit. He's got 25 of them over 1,000 net merit. So the bull is doing a great, great job, and he's a bull that just seems to take matings and take him to another level. So we're really excited about him, and I wanted to mention him again today as well. The same thing for 614, 14226, Disu Frazzled Rome. The Rome calves are just starting to roll in, so we're just getting a few results back on him, but they're, again, a bull that's a triple threat, and that's kind of the thing we like to see here is all these bulls, not only good in TPI, they're high net merit, they're high cheese merit, they're high DWP. So when you can put that together in a combination, we're usually pretty excited about that. And so those were just a few of them that then obviously, I guess, because either everybody's outside because it's nice today, or we haven't got any questions yet. But I'm going to talk just for a moment about a new program that you can, if you go to the Select Sire's website, you'll see it there. But we've launched something new called NextGen. And it's a program that hopefully will get some of our tighter supply or our tightly allocated, those most elite genomic young sires to the field just a little bit quicker. It's a membership club. So it's sort of like Costco. You buy a membership, and then that lets you into the store to grab your goodies. And that's sort of the same thing that NextGen is going to be. So the details are on the Select Sire's website, and you can look there. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about the first two bulls that are in this program. And the first one is 550H14134 SSI PR Renegade. This is a bull that lots of folks have asked about for quite a while. He's a very different bull in an outcross because he is a Jalta Oak from a Millington. And again, the Millington is up at Genetic Futures in Wisconsin. She's a very good cow. And this bull is really started out very, very nicely, as well as a sire father. This bull's a bit outcrossed because you minimize the robust, mobile, Jedi modesty sort of influence in the bull, so he works on a lot of the daughters that are out there. And so we've used this bull. We think he's a very, very unique bull. And so we're making him available to the public now for the first time, but to the NextGen members as you join that club. And basically, you're going to fill out an application. It'll come in here to Select Sires. They'll send you the contract, which does have some limitations, stipulations of the males, the females, because we feel like this bull is very, very special in those respects, and so they'll fall under this contract of what we call NextGen. The other bull I wanted to talk about that I've had a lot of questions in the last several months about is 507H 14364 Sandy Valley Isaku is actually his official pronunciation per the breeder of how this bull is supposed to be his name. He has a lot of other ones I've heard, but we all know who he is, and that's the really good Samurai son out of the #1 cow to breed, Sandy Valley Eternity. She's a Rubicon daughter, and so everybody's been clamoring for this bull, rightfully so. He's 2878, so prodding right at 2900. He's got a beautiful linear profile. He just checks every box when you look at him. The one thing that I feel the most confident on is that this cow is probably the best index cow I've seen in a decade. Eternity is fresh again for the second time. She was an 88.2-year-old, #1 cow to breed. So we've got 4 sons of this cow with more to come. And so a very, very exciting cow when you get the opportunity to work with a cow like this and breeders like Sandy Valley. So Isaku is going to be that bull that I think is 164 pounds of combined fat and protein. And he's just one that we're excited. No calves have been born by the bull yet. And that's really our hope as we move forward, that we can bring these bulls to the field, to you, the members, a little bit quicker, because we're going to have the protections of these on our most elite bulls. So I wanted to touch on those. The bull that will come next will probably be the legacy bull that 7H14250 that we've talked about for a very long time, bred right here in Ohio by Pine Tree. Stay tuned, probably later this summer when he will come into the program, but he will be a NextGen sire as well. So I wanted to touch on that just briefly today as well. Still no questions, so I'm going to switch to another thing that I think most people have been asking about, another question that I get very frequently this week, last month or so, and that's, what's your take on the Frazzled daughters? Frazzled is starting to add some of his first milking daughters. He'll have what I would call a pretty big sire summary in August. He did add 21 daughters to his production proof this time. He doesn't have a type proof yet, but his early data in the set program looks very encouraging. What I can tell you on Frazzled is I've seen 13 milking daughters thus far, ranging all the way back to the end of December, 1st of January, and continue to see them calving in and hearing reports from breeders. I'm very excited about what I'm seeing. They're good heifers that are turning into getting out of the gate, doing pretty well for their herd owners. Hearing a lot of them in the mid-90s on production right out of the gate. And the one thing I know for certain is that he is a far superior udder sire to his sire. I think more consistent in the udders than the Joe Supers. The cow family has been amazing for a very long time up at Spencer Hackett's. We like the heifers. As I said, his sons like Solution, Rome, and Riveting are coming out of the gate with their earliest calves and doing very well. So I get a lot of questions from folks about Frazzled, and thought I should share with you what I'm seeing, and we're going to know a whole lot more in August. That's when he's going to get his official data, where you're going to have the opportunity to know where he fits in the progeny proven ranks, and like I say, I'm to the point in this business now I don't make any predictions. I can just tell you what I see and what I like, and I really like what I'm seeing in the Frazzled daughters at the moment. Like I say, I must either be answering everybody's questions, but I guess normally this time we talk a little bit about the type side of the business and showcase, and obviously a program that I'm always very excited to visit about, and really good news to report. Jacoby is now the #1 type sire in the breed that's in the active AI list. He's #2 overall. Golden Avalanche is #1. And so he's off to the races. He's 4.03 on type, and so we're very happy about the Jacobys. They got beautiful udders. He went up very nicely on type here this time, solidified his position as a really exciting type bull. I would say the same thing about Diamondback. He added a lot of data this week, and his proof held steady. He stays over 3 points on type. I was out in the field last week looking at cows all week, and it's just an awful lot of fun to go to breeders and see these great Diamondback daughters. He's a we-like kind of bull, and so I've been very excited of what I've seen on that as far as the active showcase bulls. I do have one sad note to pass on, and that is we did lose 7H 9264 Dempsey, and so there's an inventory of semen that is left here, so he'll be in the lineup for a period of time yet, but we did lose the bull this week, and so it's sort of a sad day here because he's been a standard bearer for showcase, sold 575,000 doses of semen to date, so a very exciting bull there. So that's a bit of showcase news, I guess, on the record. Sarah's by Mag because she hasn't done the press release yet, but at any rate, we did get a question come in, and I'll come back to a couple of the young showcase bulls here in a moment. But we got a question about King Royal and saw that he had 11 daughters fresh. And have I seen any? And I've seen just a couple. I've seen 2. They were just really fresh, but I liked what I saw. Really good udders. They've been some of the favorite heifers of a lot of breeders across the country. And so we're really excited. I'm not sure he'll have as much data as Frazzled in August. But he's getting there, and like I say, I've seen a couple of his earliest daughters fresh thus far. So stay tuned on King Royal. The first 2 I saw were really good. On the type side of things, on the young wolves, we got another question. What's my take on Defiant? I think as far as red and whites go, he's the modern day constructor bull. Just like his sire, I think Braxton was a bull that put so much frame into cows that then the next generation you come up with so many different combinations to come back on them. And I think that's the good part about Defiant. He still makes great type daughters. He adds the red factor. I just happened to have ran across a cow for one of my clients here a few weeks ago who was looking for a cow to make calves for his granddaughters. And we found this Defiant daughter because you can breed her to about everything under the sun. So that's really exciting on Defiant. And so he's been doing really, really well. And I think, again, the best part about it is you can construct a bull because you can use so many different bulls on it. The other question I see here is, what heifers from my type young sire are standing out? Great question. Great question. And it's really easy. It is tattoo. The tattoo calves have been really exciting. Again, when I was out last week on farm, people want to show you those heifers. And they're long, they're tall, they're stretchy, they're really feminine. They're pretty heifers, and it's easy to see. I think once we get later into the summer, you're going to see a lot of those out at the show rings. I've noticed that a couple sales this spring. There's been a few that have sold really, really well. So we feel really good about what we're seeing on that. I would say the same thing on Undenied. Looked at one of the highest type heifers in the breed at Heatherstone Enterprises last week, and she is an absolutely not dead, gorgeous black silky heifer, really pretty. They're obviously really tall, but they've got that balance through their rumps, what you like to see. So I've been very, very happy with what I've seen in the Undenied heifers. And then I'll just speak personally for myself. The best heifers that my cattle partner and I, what we see is the King Doc heifers. They're just consistent. They're beautiful heifers. They're long, they're wide rumped, maybe cracked just a little bit in the loin, but not all of them. But they're so long, they're really balanced. They've been some of the best heifers from a type respect that I've seen out in the pens as well, and saw a lot of them as he was our #1 showcase bull here last year. Speaking of Doc, we're getting into the King Doc Sun time period now. And obviously, we've got several of them, and 2 are active at this point. And that's Seamer's Doc Hancock, and then we have Seamer's Doc Handsome, who is just a new release this time here in the April sire summaries. So they're 2 full brothers. They're out of a Monterey, out of Cookie Cutter Mogul Hanker. Again, part to part, piece to piece, one of those just flawless cows that was a great individual herself, but was also a real genomic giant as well. And it's nice to get that combination. Hancock is been readily accepted. He had a really good day this week on the type respect. He's 4.1 on type now. That puts him in the top 5-6 bulls in the breed within the data that I've crunched through this week yet. And then his brother is just a little bit behind him. He's 3.88, I believe. But both of them really good linear in those. So those are the 2 Doc sons that are active at the moment. We've got one coming here in May. Somebody asked a question about Defiant a few minutes ago. We have a bull from Scientific that's a Doc son named Doc Cole, and he is out of a Dorman daughter that's excellent now, back in the debutante raised. He's a maternal brother to Doppler, and he's right tight to 4 points on type as well. So the King Doc sons are coming in that respect. The other bull I wanted to mention that's in our Generations program is a bull named Avant-Garde Subin. He's a crushed son like Tattoo. He is out of Wallet McCutcheon Summer, 94-point cow, been a ribbon cow at Madison, been kind of a perennial favorite of the crowd, and a great cow family. And Subin is in the 250H lineup, but he's available here in the States as well. He's a bull I really like because he's a plus DP, +2 on DPR. Even after the changes again this week, he's a good DPR bull. He's a crush out of McCutcheon Summer. And then we also have, and soon to be released later this year, his maternal brother by Unix that is here as well. So we have 2 sons of Summer that are coming down the pike. So those are just sort of a couple of the highlights on the Genomic Young Sires in the Showcase Selections program. Red and white, I guess we always try to catch a few highlights on that. I'll stay in the Showcase realm for a moment. Another one of our most popular bulls right now is Mr. Blonde and Warrior Red. And That bull, again, right near the top of the breed for type, over 4 points on type. Heard some really good reports that he's settling really well. That's a good cow family that goes back to Rocky Mountain Gold Winter. And that bull is continuing to gain some momentum. Just saw the bull a couple weeks ago at Accelerated Genetics. He lives in Westby, and again, a really solid bull that is doing a great job. And he's red. He's a red Avalanche son from a doorman, and then back into the Rocky Mountain Gold Winter cow family. The other bulls that had a really good day is and hopefully we'll have semen to you soon, is a bull named Kenmore Triple Crown Red. He's a red Salvatore son. Goes back to the Apple cow family. His mother's a Delta, and then a McCutcheon out of Apple. This bull had a really good day this time. He's the #1 red GTPI bull in the breed, but he goes back into the Apple cow family. Really well-made bull. I just saw him a couple weeks ago as well, and he's right near the top of the charts. Not far behind him is a bull named Mr. Stonefront Reed Red, and again, high type, good linear. The nice part about this bull is he doesn't have any Apple in his pedigree, so he can get used on about anything. And I've seen the early sales on the bull. He's doing well, but he's a bull that 2-4 on type, beautiful linear profile, almost 2,600 TPI in red, and no Apple. So I think he's one of our real gems in the lineup there. And then he's got a 100% maternal brother, or 100% blood brother from a full sister to his dam on that silver dam, named Trentway Ronald. And again, #1 red factored bull in the breed. He's well into the 2,700s. He crowds 900 on net merit. We've used this bull very, very heavily as a sire father, and so we're very excited about what's to come with him as well. So we're really looking forward to his first calves being born, and I guess the one thing I'd say on Ronald, be patient. He's probably one of our most in-demand bulls, both domestically and internationally. He's got a good RZG, so he fits multiple markets, and so he's been probably one of our, along with Solution, one of our most tightly allocated genomic young sires. But with that, I'm not sure if there's any other questions out there. Be happy to answer them if you've got any. But I think if not, I think we'll give it just a minute here yet to see if anybody else has got any questions. But like I say, I hope that the spring does well for you folks, that we can get on the land here pretty soon, get manure hauled, get some crops on the ground. I am feeling as optimistic about this business as I have in a long, long time. You look at all the tea leaves in terms of dairy cattle sales are starting to pick back up again. It looks like product is moving. Cow numbers are shrinking just a little bit. So we're seeing some signs of life here in the business, and so I'm feeling very, very good about it. And I know we've had a long, cold winter and a long tough stretch, but keep it up. Let's see. I got a couple more questions. So the first question was thoughts on the seasonal DPR changes being charted in the Holstein breed with its effects on net merit and TPI. Wesley, that's a good question. I touched on it just briefly at the beginning, but I'll go through it again. Where we're at is they thought they had this fixed back last August. In August and December, we didn't see the seasonal adjustments. We did see it again this spring. It was not as severe as last year. The average drop was about 0.8 is where it is. And the average, what that did to net merit and TPI is it took out about 34 TPI points off genomic young sires, about 19 TPI points on proven sires. And on the net merit side, it took about 15 net merit dollars off and about 8 net merit dollars on the net merit side of proven bulls. So hopefully that helps Wesley. The next question I had was on homozygous polled bulls and Loyola and Zipit P. I actually, hey Tyrone, good to see you. Actually, Zipit P was actually a bull I just looked up this morning because I was surprised that I didn't see him. I've been really happy with what I've seen on them. There's some really good cows, and it was actually a daughter photo came in this morning. And I was like, boy, we didn't think about Zipit on Tuesday. I wonder why that is. He's got about 40 daughters milking. His date is 1,700 pounds of milk. He looks really good. Does not have a type proof yet. So he would be one of those bulls that I think is in the wheelhouse for August, and the data thus far looks really good. And what I've seen milking, they're the best daughters of a pole bull that I've seen in a really long time. They're milking well, they're beautiful uddered. So we're feeling very, very good about Zippet at the moment. Loyola, I haven't seen any fresh yet, and hopefully they'll be coming here in the next several months, but I haven't had a chance to see any Loyolas lately, but I'm very, very pleased with what we're seeing on Zippet P. What do I think of Millington? David Ferguson, thanks. One of my favorites. Millington is done amazing things. He's worked his way up to the top 10 on the TPI list. He's a bull that, under the current circumstances, fits the modern formula and the modern dairy cow really well. He's an exceptional fat bull. He's a high feed efficiency bull. I love that cow family. Again, goes back to Ramos 1200. And so there's a lot of things to like, but most importantly, what I see milking, I'm really, really happy about. The day I talked a moment ago about seeing Riveting's dam earlier this winter, same day, same stop, same farm, there was a second lactation Millington at that farm, and I was blown away. She was a marvelous cow, big wide rear, big wide rump, but yet moderate size, good dairy strength, very freestyle friendly kind of cow. And that's what we're seeing on the Millingtons, and so I've been really happy. I think he's a bull that we really like. Other question on from Lindsay about, is Triple Crown going to be set? I hope so, but it probably won't be for a while. And the reason is that supply and demand at this point doesn't allow for that. The bull had a hiccup through the middle of the winter. He's back to normal. As I said, I just saw him a couple weeks ago. His semen quality is improving, and the production is improving. But we don't have enough product probably right now to meet both a conventional and a sexed situation. So I think at some point he will be, but it's going to be a little while. Any news though? So Josh just asked a question. Can you talk a little bit about Jedi and Modesty? Absolutely. How much time do we have right now? We got 20 minutes. I could talk for 20 minutes alone on Jedi. I simply love the bull. I think that he's a major game changer when it comes to protein. At 84 pounds of protein with $4,000 in your proof and 2,500 pounds of milk, I think that is really elite, and he's a game changer. I love the fact that he's a high production bull. Like when Montross first came out, Montross was a rare bull that he could be so high on milk and plus on DPR. And even through all these DPR changes this week, everything readjusting a little bit, he's still well over a point on DPR and 2,500 pounds of milk. He's 266 on cell score. So he's a good fertility bull when it comes to his fitness traits. He's good on productive life. He's good on livability. So he checks a lot of boxes. I personally think that he's better than what his proof says. But the proof is what it is. I'm seeing a bunch of them that are calving for the second time, and they blow you away. I was saw one of my own last week, fresh, less than a month. Looked fantastic. She had 146 pounds, 23 days fresh. They're the kind of cows that can just give rivers of milk. And so I am a giant fan. I always have been. Loved Miri in terms of what she was as a cow, and I think Jedi's her best son. That being said, there's two things I'd like to change. They are straight-legged. There's no two ways. The thing I like about it is at least I know how to use the bull and in what places he's going to work really well. Him and Frazzled, I think, are going to be a really great combination. He's a bull that has the ability to at least he's consistent enough. I know what to change on. I see some bulls of daughters of other bulls where the bull's a little inconsistent and you don't know how to mate them because you don't know what you're going to get. I like the fact that I know what I'm going to get with a Jedi, and it's part and parcel of that. The other thing I'd like to change that the Genomics didn't catch on the bull is that he's not as good a fat bull as we thought he should be. And that, to me, again, is why he and Frazzled, I think, fit together really, really well. And so I'm really bullish on Jedi. I'm glad to see him in a pedigree. I keep getting great sons coming in on a weekly basis out of really exciting Jedi daughter. So I think he's a long-term, really high customer satisfaction bull for select sires, and I feel really good about it. Modesty, sort of the same thing. He's a different kind of bull. I've said that through our other conversations. Modesty is a bull that is really what the breed said they wanted. They're very moderate sized, but they're really good. He's probably the best udder bull and a bull that, through all of his data changes and adding his progeny, he's still over 2 points on udder composite, right tight to 2 points on foot and leg composite, and he's one of the high net merit bulls of the breed that can do that because he is so good in those fitness traits. DPR. I wish his cell score was a little better. But they're the kind of cows, and especially now seeing some of those fresh for the second time, that you calve these cows again. He reminds me of Shamrock. Shamrock was a bull a decade ago in the early genomic era that when they first calved in, everybody thought they were too small, they were too little. I don't know if they're going to give enough milk. And then they turned into most dairymen's favorite old cows in the pens because they bred back, they worked, they last, they had great feet and legs. I liken this bull to Shamrock, or similar influence to Numero Uno, a bull that wasn't as high a production bull as we originally thought, but he's a great bull to have in a pedigree. My suspicion is Modesty is going to be that same way because he does some things right. And what he particularly does well is that they're so mobile and athletic in terms of how they move in their rear feet and legs. As I mentioned, I know what Jedi's Achilles heel is, and that's that his legs get a little too straight. Well, all these Modesty sons that we've been able to use on Jedi's, it is a mating that makes really logical sense. They fit on each other really well. But the one thing that Modesty has done is he's moderated stature, and we've been told over and over and over again we want our cows to be small. If they're going to be smaller, they're not going to be big, cagey, 2-year-olds. So I feel really good about Modesty as well because of his incredible foot and leg mobility, beautiful udders, and they're breeding back and coming into the second lactation. They're turning into pretty good cows. Now, is he the #1 TPI bull in the breed? No. But he's in his contemporaries. I just looked at the top 197% reliable list, and he's in the top 20. So in terms of other choices that one could have made 3 years ago of who you could have used, he's right there, and I feel pretty good about what he's doing. Next question we did have from Dennis, news on Renegade and availability in the UK. And same to you. Greetings here from the States. Dennis is in Northern Ireland. The best thing I can tell you is to check with your with Worldwide Sires directly. I know they're working on the paperwork and those kind of things because there is a contract that will come with this. But our intention on the NextGen program is that these bulls will be able to be sold anywhere in the world as long as we can get a signed contract and that producer has paid the membership fee to join the club. So stay tuned for details. This is all, we're 3 days into this, and it's kind of, we're just kind of starting to maneuver our way through this. But a good question, and the best answer I can give you is check with Worldwide directly. Looks like we're pretty much wound up on questions here. As I said earlier, you guys are the most resilient people in the world in the dairy business, and I really do think that there's light. This is the first that we're seeing spring come, and maybe we all feel better. But you look at some of the key indicators, and I think that the dairy business is going to be more bullish going through the second half of 2019 and into 2020. And we just hope that we can be there to meet your genetic needs, do other things for you that we can. And so on behalf of everybody here at Select Sires, I want to thank you for visiting with us again today on Facebook Live. Always enjoy the time to answer questions, and we'll see you the next time around. Thank you very much. I hit end. I ended, but there's another box that popped up.